So hey guys, what's up? I'm back, and today I'll be talking about if Fortnite Chapter 7 Season 2 is good. Now, Fortnite Chapter 7 Season 2 will be coming to a close in just over a week, and today I'm going to be talking about if it was good or bad or just okay, So, starting with the good. Now, I liked the map changes this season. They weren't anything crazy, they weren't insane, but I think this map was a direct improvement over last season's map, especially because last season, the only good POI was Painted Palms, to be honest, and that wasn't even that good of a POI, so it's not like that POI was like so good to the point where it could save the map from being mid. No, it could not save the map from being mid because, well, it was a mid. It wasn't really that good, it was kind of mid. I mean, it was good. I wouldn't say it's mid, but it's nothing amazing. But yeah, I really did like the map changes. Obviously Clausy Lodge is gone. I'm not sure if any other POIs were gone. I don't think other POIs were removed. But I think this map brought some good improvements. I think this map is a direct improvement over last season's map. Another good thing is the loot pool is also a big improvement. All the boring weapons from last season are gone, or at least most of the boring weapons. I think this season's loot pool is much more interesting than last season's. It's not like last season's where it was bland and boring. Last season in general was just bland and boring. Kind of reminds me of Chapter 2, with how Season 1 had very little content, but also dragged on for very long. It's kind of like Chapter 7, It's kind of the same with Chapter 7. Season lasted very long, it was boring, and then they added a bunch of new content in Season 2. Another thing I liked about Season 2 was the boss fights. They weren't insane, but, they're better than Chapter 7's boss fights and how you transformed into a boss. I actually liked the boss powers this season. I know that kind of ties into the loot pool, but yeah, I'm still going to talk about that anyways. But moving on to the bad. Now, some bad things about Chapter 7 Season 2 is, well, it just wasn't that exciting. I really just didn't think it was that good. I really didn't play this season too much. I played it enough to the point where I can have an opinion. I didn't play it that little, but it kind of suffers from the same problems as Chapter 7 Season 1, where it's nothing crazy, map's kind of mid. Obviously it's an improvement over last season's map, no doubt about that, but it's just kind of mid. And it just doesn't really have anything crazy in this season. Obviously I feel like it kind of runs into the same problem as Chapter 7 Season 1, where Fortnite just really tries to play it safe. And, on one hand, I can't blame them for trying to play it safe. I totally get that, because they don't want controversy. They don't want people being mad over some annoying-ass item added to the game. I get it, but they should still take risks. Obviously, if you don't gotta take risks, then don't take risks. But, a lot of times you're gonna have to take risks for a good reward. I can't even lie. But overall, how good was Chapter 7 Season 2? Now, I'd say it was pretty solid, but nothing special. It was a step forward from Chapter 7 Season 1 in every single way. There was not one thing that Chapter 7 Season 1 had over this season, in my opinion. Except for maybe having a snowy map during Winterfest. I did like the super snowy map, but, there is some snow on the map, they added some extra snow, so yeah, I wouldn't really say there's anything about last season that's better than this season. This season honestly had a good amount of content, and it didn't really do anything terribly wrong, but it isn't really too fun either, so it's not great. So, if I had to rate the season out of 10, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's pretty solid, but nothing amazing. Did you enjoy this video? What would you give this season a rating out of 10? Let me know. Goodbye.